Greetings and salutations, dreamers in dreamland. Welcome to the latest edition of Listen to Me. Listen to Me, volume 52. And let me tell you something right now. Today is Wednesday, the 17th of November, 2021. And, we had an incredible weekend of boxing this past weekend. And we have an incredible weekend in boxing this coming weekend. And the biggest fight of fights this coming weekend is the Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter showdown for the WBO welterweight championship of the world, the 147-pound WBO title, which is currently held by pound-for-pound sweetheart, pound-for-pound top 3 in the world right now, Terence Crawford, and he will be challenged by Shawn Porter, former two-time welterweight champion of the world. Now, Terence Crawford, his credentials are proven. He is a 3-weight world champion, a Ring Magazine champion at 135 and 140, an undisputed champion at 140 pounds, and the current WBO welterweight champion of the world at 147 pounds. Shawn Porter is a 2-time welterweight champion of the world. Now, he's lost 3 times in his career. All 3 times he lost were very close fights. Shawn Porter is 31-3 with 1 draw, 17 knockouts. He lost a unanimous decision to Keith Thurman a couple years ago. Now, that was a very close fight, a lot closer than, a lot of people, a lot of people think it's a lot closer than a unanimous decision. That was a very close fight. Thurman, he may have nicked it, he may have edged that fight. Whatever, doesn't make a difference in the record books. It reads as a loss for Shawn Porter. A very close loss, but a loss. He lost before that. His first professional loss was a majority decision loss to Kell Brook. Now, Kell Brook at the time was, world-class fighter. May have been the best welterweight in the world at that time. Some people had him pegged as such, pinned as such, as the top welterweight in the world after he beat Shawn Porter. But, Kell Brook, obviously, since then has fallen off, and Shawn Porter has not. And if Shawn Porter fought Kell Brook today, I would give Shawn Porter very good odds to not only beat Kell Brook, but stop him, and likely end his career at this point. He also lost a few years ago in 2019, a split decision to now unified champion Errol Spence Jr. Very close fight again, a split decision. A fight where Shawn, he was in the fight, and he made it a competitive fight all the way through, yet he got dropped, in the last round by Errol Spence Jr. Only knockdown in the fight. And I really felt that it was a very, very close fight. I personally had it 6 rounds to 6. And I felt it could have went either way. I felt the knockdown may have been the difference, and the right guy won the fight. Regardless, Shawn Porter is always in a close, tough fight. And, he never is backed away from any challenges. Before he fought Errol Spence Jr., he had a very tough fight with now WBA champion welterweight Yordenis Ugas. He won that split decision, a very close fight. Very close fight. A lot of people felt Ugas did enough to win. I felt it was a very close fight. Shawn Porter won that fight by split decision. Another very tough fight with a very tough fighter. Here's a little piece of information. One of the few people to defeat Terence Crawford as an amateur was Yordenis Ugas. Yes, it was Yordenis Ugas. No doubt about it. So, very intriguing, to see that Shawn Porter has been in there with all the top guys at welterweight for the better part of the last decade, if we're going to be honest about this. I mean, he had a draw a while back in his, I think, 21st professional fight, and that was with Julio Diaz. Julio Diaz, who was a former 135-pound champion, a former IBF, I believe it was, lightweight champion, and he had a split decision draw with Julio Diaz in a fight that he took rather early on in his career. A very tough opponent, a tough Mexican fighter in Julio Diaz, who was proven as a world champion, and that was a draw. Now, Shawn Porter did knock out Paulie Malignaggi. He stopped that guy in the 4th round of their fight. I don't remember if it was a referee stoppage or he knocked him. I don't believe Shawn Porter knocked him out cold, but he beat the living piss out of Paulie Malignaggi. He did. Shawn Porter beat up Paulie Malignaggi. No disrespect to Brooklyn's own Paulie Malignaggi, but Shawn Porter beat that guy up with rather ease. Shawn Porter had a unanimous decision win over Adrian Broner. I remember that fight distinctly. It was a PBC on NBC production a while back. But, you know, Shawn Porter beat Adrian Broner when Adrian Broner was, you know, he was a legitimate guy at that time. You know, he was a world-class fighter. And some people feel that Adrian Broner still is a world-class fighter. Some people feel he's past his prime. I feel that, you know, Adrian Broner was a world-class fighter at one time, and I feel that, you know, maybe he could be again, but right now he's not. That's just the facts of the matter. Period. End of story. Moving on from any business to do with Adrian Broner. Terence Crawford, 37-0, 28 knockouts. He beat Kell Brook. Stopped him. He beat Amir Khan. Stopped him. He's on something like a 9-fight knockout streak for Terence Crawford, something like that. And he wants to continue his knockout streak, and he's planning on continuing his knockout streak. He's stopped anyone and everyone, from Julius Ndongo to Kell Brook, to Amir Khan, to the Mean Machine, Kavaliauskas, to Jeff Horn, to Jose Benavidez. Stopped them all. Stopped them all. Look, since he became the undisputed 140-pound champion by stopping Julius Ndongo and then subsequently moving up to the 147-pound division and stopping Jeff Horn, Terence Crawford has been a locomotive. He's been a diesel engine. He's been a train. He's been just on the track, just plowing through anything in his path. And Shawn Porter, he's a tough guy, but he will be on the tracks. Make no mistake about it. Now, I'm not going to give you my my official prediction, as I like to make that video a little later on in the week. I'll give you the real breakdown. But, you know, I'll be honest with you. The early money is on Terence Crawford. My bet is usually on Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is a great, great fighter. However, what I will tell you is this. Referring to this past weekend, giving you a review of what happened this past weekend. Now, there were two big upsets this past weekend, and I didn't make a prediction video last week. I didn't. I didn't make a breakdown. I didn't. But it was my birthday week. I took a vacation. What can I tell you? Anyway, there were two, big upsets last weekend. Big upsets. Alycia Baumgardner from the United States of America upset Terri Harper of the United Kingdom on the soil of the United Kingdom, in the United Kingdom, on the road. Alycia Baumgardner hit Terri Harper so hard with a clean, I believe it was a right hand. She hit her so hard, Terri Harper was out on her feet. Terri Harper, and I'm not making fun of anybody, she was out on her feet. And Alycia Baumgardner, when she knocked her out on her feet, saw that she was about to leap in with a left hook of doom. She was looking to hit a smash, similar to what Razor Ruddock hit on Michael Dokes in the corner all those years ago. She was looking to hit a left hook like Ray Mercer hit Tommy Morrison when he was defenseless up on the ropes all those years ago. Alycia Baumgardner was about to do her best job as a professional boxer to try to take the head off of the shoulders of Terri Harper. The referee jumped in and said, no, that's it. Saved Terri Harper from unnecessary punishment. And the referee did the right thing. Now, the fans in the arena, they booed. Their fighter lost, and some people may have felt it was early. I don't think that was an early stoppage at all. Terri Harper was defenseless. Defenseless. And let me tell you something. I watched the Michael Dokes and Donovan Razor Ruddock fight. And look, Michael Dokes was a former world champion and a top-level fighter for a very long time. He had a great fight with Evander Holyfield. Michael Dokes is a guy who I had a lot of respect for. Michael Dokes got hit with, I believe it was the first left from Razor Ruddock in the corner, and he just went out on his feet, but was held up by the ropes. And he proceeded to take a right hand and then another smash, and the second smash, which is like a smash, is like it's like a combination hook uppercut that you just kind of dip and just bring all your force across your body. And Donovan Razor Ruddock, that was his punch, the smash. And he hit Michael Dokes with a smash that nobody should get hit with. Really. And it was very similar to the more famous footage of Ray Mercer beating the shit out of Tommy Morrison when he had him in the corner in that fight all those years ago. When Tommy Morrison took something like 5 shots when he was already knocked out on his feet. Hard footage to watch. Tommy Morrison, he recovered from that. He went on to become a world champion after that. He went on to beat George Foreman after that. He went on to success after that. He did. He went on to beat Donovan Razor Ruddock after that. Facts. But both of those scenarios were something that shouldn't happen anymore. And they really don't. When a guy is defenseless out on his feet, the referee usually comes in to either give a count. I can give a recent example. When Kell Brook had fought Terence Crawford last year, Terence Crawford, boom, nails a nice short left and just proceeds to attack Kell Brook with a combination of punches as Kell Brook is in the ropes. Kell Brook kind of gets caught in the ropes. He's on his feet. The referee comes in and gives him a standing 8 count. Gives him an opportunity to defend himself again, but gives him a standing 8 count. Kell Brook wasn't out on his feet at that point. He wasn't completely defenseless and knocked out with stiff legs like Terri Harper was, but he was defenseless. The referee came in, gave the standing 8 count, and then proceeded to allow the fight to continue. Terence Crawford continued his punishment on Kell Brook, and the fight was stopped appropriately. Period. End of story. Terri Harper was out on her feet. Similar to when a boxer gets knocked out and their legs kind of go straight and they kind of go into that, that frozen position. And sometimes you see a guy with straight legs and he's throwing his arms up like he's still trying to throw punches. And that's happened a lot of times in boxing. It has. And we've all seen it. We've all seen it. And, when the legs go stiff like that, that's a problem. That's someone that's, rendered defenseless. And that's basically what happened to Terri Harper. She was rendered defenseless on her feet. Her legs were stiff, but they were straight, and she was still standing because she was sort of balanced in a way. But she was out. She was out. And Alycia Baumgardner delivered that boom, that punch, that blow, that big right hand. She was out. And she was ready to follow it up with a big fucking left. A big fucking smash of a left hook. The referee saved Terri Harper. And he did so completely in the right. Completely appropriate, proper stoppage. Well done by Alycia Baumgardner. And look, I'm a big Terri Harper fan. And I actually like Alycia Baumgardner very much as well. But I'm a big Terri Harper fan. I make no secret about that. I like the United Kingdom women's boxing scene. I think it's a lot healthier than the most of the boxing scene here in the United States of America. And I love Terri Harper's story. A homegrown talent from over there that became a world champion. But she got beat by Alycia Baumgardner. So congratulations to Alycia Baumgardner on her incredible knockout victory, the upset victory in the United Kingdom. And Terri Harper will be back. Get well soon, Terri Harper, and she will be back, and she will be a world champion again, mark my words. Now, moving on to another tremendous upset by another visiting fighter, this time not a fighter from the United States of America to the United Kingdom on that very same show last weekend in the United Kingdom. A fighter from Spain, Kiko Martinez, with an incredible 6-round knockout of Kid Galahad. Now, look. Kid Galahad is a guy who is a very good boxer, but there have been some questions to his chin, and Josh Warrington questioned his heart. There's no other way to put it. Josh Warrington questioned Kid Galahad's heart, his balls, his willingness to win, his guts, if you will. And, I had questions about Kid Galahad's chin myself, and I actually thought Kid Galahad had a chance to win this fight, but I'll tell you this. Kiko Martinez is a guy who beat up Zelfa Barrett, and he lost. And before this fight, I said, Kiko has to knock out Kid Galahad. I said that to my wife. I said, he's got to knock him out, and I think he might. Because I knew that this was Kiko's last hurrah. Kiko knew that this was his last hurrah. A 35-year-old fighter with 55 professional fights, including this past Saturday's contest. Okay? He knows he doesn't have a lot of time left in the tank. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time left in the hourglass in his boxing career. And he knows that this is a world championship title opportunity. And let me tell you something. Kiko Martinez brings the fight. He brings the pressure every single time. The Zelfa Barrett fight, it's a prime example. Kiko was on Zelfa the entire duration of that fight. And, Eddie Hearn, he rewarded Kiko Martinez. Kiko Martinez had a rebound fight. I believe it was in Spain. And then he, after he rebounded off of his, quote-unquote horrible decision loss to Zelfa Barrett, Eddie Hearn gave him a reward. Big payday, main event, world title. And guess what? Now that Kiko Martinez is a world champion, he will have another opportunity again and make another payday again. So congratulations to Kiko Martinez and his incredible knockout of Kid Galahad. Now, he floored him at the end of the fifth. Kid Galahad ran around ran and held and survived the end of the fifth. The beginning of the sixth, first shot that Kiko landed, boom, done deal. Good night. Good night, Kid Galahad. And that was it. So 2 big upsets, of fighters that are based in the United Kingdom, of, British fighters. Kid Galahad and Terri Harper both upset on their home soil by 2 visiting fighters. Incredible. Now, I can tell you this. Watching the ring walk of Alycia Baumgardner, I knew she was going to win. Watching Kiko Martinez, his ring walk, I knew he was going to win. That's why, to really give an accurate assessment, I always like to wait until after the final press conference and after the weigh-in, after the stare down. And when I really want to, when I can really give the best assessment of what I'm going to see, is when I see those fighters when they got the gloves laced up and they're ready to go. And it's hard to make videos at the absolute 11th hour, but Dreamers in Dreamland, the Dream, yours truly, everybody's favorite boxing shaman, I am going to make a conscious effort going forward to jump in, even if it's with a 1 or 2 minute video at the 11th hour and just upload it to give you my absolute, 11th hour assessment of what you're about to see. Now, I want to cover the biggest piece of boxing news now that we've covered the, this week's upcoming fight with Crawford and Porter, and that we covered last weekend. Look, Canelo Alvarez made an announcement. I don't know if it was yesterday. I believe it was yesterday at the WBC convention, maybe the day before. But regardless, within the last 48 hours, Canelo Alvarez has announced he's going to move up to 200 pounds. 200 fucking pounds. He's going to move up to cruiserweight to fight Junior Makabu. Junior Makabu. I believe he's from the People's Republic of the Congo. Regardless, Junior Makabu is 28-2 with 25 knockouts. He's almost a fucking heavyweight. Canelo Alvarez's last contest was at 168 pounds. Okay, mathematics are very simple. 200 minus 168 is 32. This is a 32-pound jump upstairs. 32 pounds upstairs. Canelo Alvarez is going to go and challenge Junior Makabu, who's 28-2, 25 knockouts. Now look, out of all the cruiserweight champions, all right, Maurice Bredis, been champion since September 2020, the IBF champion. He's 27-1. He lost the decision to Alexander Usyk in 2018. Okay? Lawrence Okoli, 17-0, 14 knockouts. He became champion in March 2021. Arsen Goulamarian became champion in May of 2019, 26-0 with 18 knockouts. Junior Makabu has been champion since January 2020. He's the second longest tenured champion at this weight. He also happens to have the highest knockout percentage of all the cruiserweight champions. This is not a cherry pick. To be completely honest, the most inexperienced of all the cruiserweight champions is Larry Okoli, 17-0, 14 knockouts, who's been champion since March of 2021. Larry Okoli would be the quote-unquote cherry. That would be the lowest hanging fruit. Junior Makabu has one professional loss since his professional debut. In his professional debut in 2008, okay? It's 2021, about to be 2022. When they fight in 2022, that's when Canelo will fight Junior Makabu, likely in May, okay? Junior Makabu debuted in 2008. He got knocked out in 29 seconds. But that was 15 years ago. 15 years ago. I'm sorry, excuse me. It'll be 14 years ago by the time Junior Makabu and Canelo fight from his professional debut when he was knocked out in 29 seconds. He also was knocked out in 2006, 5.5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, by Tony Bellew. Look, Tony Bellew's a big puncher, and he was a world champion. Tony Bellew, they don't put bums in Rocky movies. They don't. That's not the way it works. You don't get a Hollywood, spot and a big screen if you're a fucking bum. Tony Bellew is not only a two-weight, former world champion. He's a guy who's, was a big star in the United Kingdom. He knocked out Junior, Makabu back in 2016 in a good fight. But Junior Makabu got knocked out. But since then, he hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't lost. He's been on a 9-fight win streak. He's become champion of the world, and he's been defending his title. And you know what? Canelo Alvarez is going 32 pounds upstairs, 32 pounds north, to fight a 200-pound fighter who, out of his 28 wins, has 25 knockouts. That's a very strong knockout percentage, if you don't understand. And Canelo Alvarez is going 32 pounds upstairs. Canelo Alvarez, who debuted at 140 pounds. He won his first world title at 154 pounds. 46 pounds below 200 pounds. Canelo Alvarez is the greatest fighter of this generation. And I said it in my previous videos, and I'll say it again. I don't give a fuck if you love, like, or hate the guy. You better appreciate Canelo Alvarez while he's in the ring. Because what you're seeing is fucking greatness. What you're seeing in Canelo Alvarez is a Mexican boxing legend. A walking, living, breathing boxing legend. This will be the 5th weight class that Canelo Alvarez attempts to become a world champion. And you know something? I'm betting my money on Canelo Alvarez to win that fight. I'll give you that pick right now. Canelo Alvarez by knockout. Dreamers in Dreamland, until we meet again, I am your favorite boxing shaman. It's been a pleasure. Yours, mine, ours. Whether you're a friend, fan, family, foe, or some other type of fucking asshole. Peace.